Life worth living, life well lived, two LWLs that mean different things, even though they sound like synonyms. You got your life worth living that you're trying to build that's forward looking. And at the end of your life, you're going to have, hopefully, a life well lived that you look back on. Now, hopefully, you've taken the time to try to maybe think through what is it that you want out of life? What are those sources of meaning? What are those personal values? What kind of things bring you joy and meaning? And this is a definite first step. But it's only one step. Knowing what to do is different from actually doing it. Knowing what you do is different from actually doing it, because if you're sitting over on this side, just knowing only, you know what you want, that's great. That is necessary. You can't do something if you don't know what you want to do. It's just not sufficient. So yes, spend some time to figure out what it is that you want out of life. What kind of life are you trying to build so that the money can follow? Remember, we focus on life first, and then we get the finances to follow that. It's not the other way around. So spending some time to figure out what kind of life you want so that we can get the money to follow makes sense. But that's only the first step. Knowing is only the first step towards doing. Because if you spend too much time figuring out or waiting to get perfect or trying to research a little bit more, you might end up into a situation where you might have a child say, "Hey, mom and dad, can we go to the park?" And the parents say something like, "Sorry, kid, we're trying to figure out how to incorporate more family time." Yes, that sounds silly, but I intentionally made that silly. But this is what it looks like. I'm trying to figure out how to connect with my friends again, instead of just calling my friends to go out for coffee. This shows up a lot of places. So author Mark Manson has said that learning more, researching more, planning more is a smart person's favorite form of procrastination. So it's very easy for us to hide behind learning. It's very easy for us to hide behind planning and hide behind research. So try to think of these areas where you might be doing something at. Where do you learn more? You just keep reading more, you keep researching more, you run the tests, but you don't actually go do it. That might be hard, and this is part of the reason it shows up. It might be hard to admit this to ourselves. So thinking about those values is necessary. What's important to you? And then once you have that value, now you can start to think of how might you express that value. What can you do to actually have this value show up in your life, to have this source of meaning show up in your life? So think about what's important to you. Family, freedom, autonomy, expression, mindfulness, nature, etc. And what behaviors can you do to actually express those values, to live out those values? I'll give you an example. Education. You might value education. So what ways might you express that value of education? Well, you could join mastermind groups. You could read books. You can take online courses. You can attend lectures at the local college. You can use AI tools to learn. You can go to YouTube to learn. There's lots of different ways that you can focus on this value or to live out this value of education. So that's an awesome bridge. Is you know what you want, how do you get to doing it? Is to map out things you can do to actually bring that value into your life. Now, the next step would be to look for what I call super activities. Now, super activity is something that it's one activity that hits multiple values. And if you find this is a gold mine. This is very efficient. Because if you can do this one thing and it satisfies multiple values at the same time, that's something you might want to pay attention to. So I'll give you an example here. Maybe you decide hiking is something that you like to do. Well, hiking fits your value of being in nature, fits your value of being fit, fitness. It meets your value of social connection and friendship. It meets your value of adventure. It maybe hits your value of awe and wonder. And so that's just one example. This is my example. It's helpful to think about what are those examples for you. What are the things that you can do that hit multiple values? And then start to do them. Okay, so we're back to this. Now, if you can move from the knowing into the overlap, now you can start to build that life worth living. Now you can start to set up your future you to look back on life and feel it was a life well lived. Knowing and doing are both necessary, so focus on both. Focus on both. Understand what your values are. Try to figure out what activities will satisfy those values, will help you express those values. Look for super activities, and then start doing it. And then put a plan together to fund that. Or find a less expensive way. There are more efficient ways to meet some of these values. But figure out the money after you figured out the values that you want to express, after you figured out what a life well lived looks like for you.